I'm sorry if this is strange, but you look sad. Are you okay? The note appeared on the coffee shop table, slid carefully toward him by delicate fingers attached to a young woman with paint-stained hands. 33-year-old Crew Ashford looked up from his untouched coffee, his red-rimmed eyes meeting hers, eyes full of gentle concern that seemed impossible from a stranger. He stared at the note, then at her, confusion and exhaustion making his voice rough. How did you... She pulled out another note, already written, as though she'd anticipated his question. I can't speak, but I can see, and you look like you're carrying the world. Sometimes that's too heavy for one person. Crew's carefully maintained composure cracked. His hand trembled as he picked up her pen and wrote back. My parents died 3 months ago, car accident. My girlfriend left 2 weeks later, said I was too broken to love anymore. Today I signed papers dissolving the company they built. I don't know who I am without them. 27-year-old Saffron Hayes watched him write, her heart aching with recognition. She'd seen him in this coffee shop for weeks, watching his grief deepen, his shoulders curve inward, his expensive suits hanging looser on a frame that forgot to eat. She'd debated approaching him a dozen times, always hesitating, until today, when something in his expression looked dangerously final. She wrote slowly, her handwriting artistic and careful. I'm mute, have been since birth. People assume that means I have nothing to say, but silence teaches you to observe, to see what others miss, and I see someone who's forgotten that grief doesn't disqualify you from deserving kindness. Crew read her words twice, then a third time, something breaking open inside his chest. Why would you talk to me? You don't know me. Because loneliness recognizes loneliness, Saffron wrote, and because I know what it's like when people stop seeing you as human and start seeing you as a problem to solve or avoid. They began meeting at that coffee shop every morning. Saffron would arrive with her sketchbook and colored pencils, creating art, while Crew slowly learned to communicate through written notes. She taught him that silence wasn't empty, it was full of observation, understanding, presence. One morning, Crew noticed her drawing his coffee cup with meticulous detail. You're an artist? She nodded, writing, I sell paintings at a small gallery downtown. It's how I communicate what I can't say aloud. Art is my voice. Can I see your work sometime? Crew asked, and something in Saffron's expression shifted, vulnerability mixed with hope. The gallery visit changed everything. Crew stood before her paintings, emotional, raw pieces that captured human connection in ways words never could. One painting stopped him completely. A businessman sitting alone in a coffee shop, his face a study in quiet devastation, light falling across him like a question mark. This is me. You painted me? Saffron wrote quickly, I paint what I see, and I saw someone worth seeing, someone drowning in plain sight while the world walked past. Crew's voice cracked. My girlfriend said I was damaged goods, that my grief made me unbearable, that losing my parents revealed I was emotionally unavailable. But you saw me drowning and didn't look away. She was wrong, Saffron firmly wrote. Grief doesn't make you broken, it makes you human. The people who walk away during your hardest moments weren't meant to stay. The ones who sit in your silence, they're the ones who matter. Over months, their friendship deepened. Crew learned sign language to communicate more fluidly. Saffron introduced him to her parents, who ran a small bookstore and had taught her that voice wasn't required for significance. Crew shared stories about his parents, their dreams for the company, their values, their love. One day, Crew arrived at the coffee shop with news. I'm starting a new company, not dissolving my parents' legacy, transforming it. They built a tech firm, but I want to build something that matters more, something they'd be proud of. What kind of company? Saffron signed. Accessibility technology, communication devices for people who can't speak, better hearing aids, software that makes the world more navigable for people society overlooks. He paused. You inspired it. Watching how you navigate a world that doesn't accommodate silence taught me that technology should serve everyone, not just the privileged. Saffron's eyes filled with tears. She wrote, "Your parents would be so proud, not because you're continuing their business, but because you're using their loss to create meaning." Then Crew revealed something that made Saffron's breath catch. I tracked down the artist who painted the portrait of me in the coffee shop, offered to buy it. The gallery owner said it wasn't for sale, that you'd marked it as your personal collection. Why? Saffron hesitated, then wrote slowly, "Because that painting is the moment I decided to stop being invisible. For years, I let my muteness make me small. People assume silence means nothing important to say. But when I saw you, this successful businessman completely alone in his grief, I realized we were the same, both unseen for different reasons. That painting reminds me that being seen and seeing others is the bravest thing we can do." Crew read her words, understanding washing over him. You weren't just offering kindness that first day. You were risking being seen yourself. Yes, Saffron signed, and you saw me back. That changed everything. 1 year after their first encounter, Crew launched his accessibility company with Saffron as his creative consultant. Her insights shaped products that actually served the disability community, rather than just catering to able-bodied assumptions about their needs. At the launch event, Crew stood before investors and press, but his eyes found Saffron in the front row. "This company exists because a stranger had the courage to hand me a note when I was drowning. She couldn't speak aloud, but her message was the clearest I've ever received. You matter. Your pain matters. You deserve to be seen."
He continued, his voice thick with emotion. "My parents died believing I'd carry their legacy forward. My girlfriend left believing I was too broken to love. But a mute artist taught me that legacy isn't about maintaining what was, it's about transforming loss into purpose. And that being broken open by grief doesn't disqualify you from connection, it qualifies you for deeper empathy." After the event, Saffron wrote him a final note. "Remember when you asked why I talked to you? Here's the real answer. Because I saw my younger self in your eyes, the person who felt invisible, unworthy of being noticed. I wanted you to know what took me 27 years to learn, that our value doesn't come from what we can produce or how well we hide our pain. It comes from our courage to be human in a world that demands we be perfect." Crew read it, tears streaming down his face. "You saved my life that day. You know that, right?" Saffron signed. "You saved mine, too. You taught me that my voice, however it's expressed, matters. That silence can be powerful if someone's willing to listen." Sometimes the most profound conversations happen without words. A note slid across a table, a painting that sees someone drowning, a silence that holds more understanding than 1,000 spoken platitudes. True kindness doesn't require the perfect words. It requires the courage to witness someone's pain and choose presence over comfort, connection over distance. It's a stranger who sees your sadness and refuses to look away, who offers simple acknowledgement that you're seen, you matter, you're not alone. We're all carrying invisible weight, walking through coffee shops and galleries and ordinary days, drowning in plain sight while the world rushes past. The greatest gift we can give is to notice, to see, to offer the simple, profound message, "I see you struggling, you're not alone." Sometimes that's all it takes to change a life. A note, a moment of being seen, the reminder that broken hearts still deserve kindness.
If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.